Hello and welcome back, guys, to the second episode of Ask Us Anything with Srcc Gbo alumni and current students. Now, in this video, we again asked a bunch of questions to Srcc Gbo alumni and current students regarding placements, regarding preparation, regarding exam day strategy. And I would recommend you to watch this video till the end, क्योंकि इस वीडियो में हमने डिस्कस करा है विद देम हाउ टू गेट इनटू डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज एंड व्हाट टू डू एक्स्ट्रा, हाउ टू गेट इनटू बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री, हाउ टू गेट इनटू कंसल्टिंग इंडस्ट्री एंड हाउ टू गेट इनटू फंक्शंस लाइक प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट. एंड इफ यू आर वाचिंग आवर वीडियोस फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम, आई वुड recommend you to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss such important content. Let's start. Today we are joined by three of our Srcc Gbo alumni who are joining us today again to talk about Srcc Gbo, MBA, its course, placements, and how has their experience been. So we'll start with a quick round of introduction. We are joined by Grisha Dhingra, who was a member of 2017-19 batch and also a very active member of the HR Society. She's currently working at Bain as a senior associate. We also have Naitik Joshi working at Amex right now as a senior business analyst and also was a part of 2018 to 2020 batch. We also have Priyanka Mehta, who was All India Rank 1 at Srcc Gbo exam and is currently working at Assistant Product Manager at India Mart. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. So we'll quickly start with the question and answer. The first question that I have is that is often asked, not just for GBO, but for other MBA programs is, why MBA? Like, why should anybody do an MBA? And even if you're doing MBA, how is it helping you through that journey of 2 years?
Why MBA? It's a very subjective question. Everyone has their own aspirations that why they want to do MBA. But for me personally, MBA is a course that gives you an overall all-round development in terms of not only the skills that you learn academically, maybe in terms of knowledge that you gain academically, but also the practical skills and the practical knowledge that you gain. Maybe it's like talking about how do you sell things, how do you sell your course, and then how do you present yourself, market yourself, present the ideas that you have. So it's all about getting that sort of development that you want. You can get that from MBA. And not only the skills if you talk about, but it's more of the experience. So MBA, it's not a very theoretical course. It's a very experiential course. So you will have a great overall development in those 2 years.
And I believe during those 2 years, it's not just the subjects that you study there. It's not just the teachers that you meet. During those 2 years, you worked with a startup. You have done a lot of live projects. You've done a lot of internships, a lot of winter internships. So I think when you sum all that up, you gain a lot of experience during those 2 years that represents a lot of interaction with the corporate and people who would who you would report to when you get on a job, or if you want to start up or do any such thing after MBA. Okay, awesome. Let's move to the next question. There are still a lot of questions about brand value of Srcc Gbo in specific. So for that, I would say we have already made a very detailed video on the brand value of Srcc Gbo and आप कैसे उन 2 साल में या उन 2 साल के बाद भी उस टैग को यूज कर सकते हो in a positive manner that you have been a part of that institution and how you can make the best use of it. So if you haven't watched that video, I would recommend you to watch that video, and if there are still any questions, feel free to ask us in the comment section. Okay, the third thing is about placements and again the growth that the course is looking at. So again, we have a person from 2017-19 batch, 2018-20, and as well as 2019-21. How do you think placements have evolved, and how has GBO helped you to get a good placement or a good internship or overall placement view that you would have on the course?
So I think the placement scenarios were very different during our times and were constantly changing because of the pandemic and how the job requirements are changing. There is a shift in industries where there are job requirements, and there is a shift where there are industries which are facing difficult times. GBO, I believe, as you rightly mentioned, is how you leverage the brand name, and I think it's a dialogue. The best part about GBO is that it's a dialogue. You contribute and you also prosper yourself. When it comes to placements, I think you get. I remember you get access to a very good number of opportunities and interviews wherein if you have performed well, if you have done well in those 2 years, chances are you end up at a very good firm, and the market it provides very good placement packages also when you compare it with other colleges. In that sense, I think it and I think these new batches are showing promising signs. So there have been a lot of changes currently going on in the college, So I think, yeah, future looks promising.
Adding to what Naitik said, basically, I would say in terms of the kind of roles that we get and the diversification at GBO, it's huge and it's great actually. So you will get companies related to consulting, you will get companies from operations, finance, banking. So there's a great mix. So that's actually helpful because even if you don't know what you want to do before entering into a MBA course, if you don't know, then also GBO is a very good option there because when you enter, you will learn a lot about different subjects. So you know at the end of 2 years that where do you see yourself in your future. So in that terms, GBO's diversification in terms of placement, that's very helpful.
I would just say that in terms of the course, since the course is about global business operations, as Grisha mentioned, that you get a variety of opportunities in hand. Apart from that, I think the course prepares you well for all the roles. So that is the best part because you do not focus on one specific thing. So in that case, it helps you during the placements. And anyways, I would say that though there have been ups and downs definitely during the COVID period, but I think after that also, the current batch has done really well. I think students have been placed, almost entire batch has been placed, so that's a very good thing, and that's a very good improvement from whatever trouble we faced during the COVID times. So I think the course prepares you well for all those things, and that is the reason the students perform well in whenever they go for interviews. I think that's it.
Yeah, and one more point to add on it. When I, talk to some of the people on LinkedIn, and when they inquire about GBO, it's not for all, but I think there is a misconception with a few that it is not just for SRCC, but any MBA college is responsible to get you placed. I think MBA college is there to offer you opportunities and a seat at interview. And if your CV gets selected, so I think the honor lies on you. More obviously, college needs to provide you this opportunity, but chances are high. Let's see, even if at SRCC, despite being such a great brand name and a college, if you don't perform well, there's nothing a college can do in that sense.
Makes sense.
Absolutely, I agree to that, and I think to what Priyanka said, the variety that the course gives you in that 2 years. So I remember even in the first year, we used to have a lot of generic subjects because there were a lot of people from technical background who would know or who would get to know what is accounting or what are the basics of business. And when you move to the second year maybe aapko international finance, international marketing, international human resources, all of that flavor you would get during those 2 years, so that you are, of course, you will be focused on a lot of international business subject, but that would also they would also keep in mind the plethora of subjects that you would have, including all the aspects of marketing, HR, or finance, right? So I think the variety is great. And also, even after the classes, as Natik said, it offers you a seat to sit for that interview, and from there on it's your total, it's your responsibility 100% to make sure that you get that job if you're really into that industry or if you really want to get into that company. Okay, awesome. So the next question is around preparations. And again, we have today a person who scored the first rank in SRCC Gbo. I think no one can really answer this but Priyanka. So Priyanka, go ahead and tell the students about what is it really during those, say, 2-3 months of preparation that you have to do. And also at the same time, what did you follow during that exam day? So what should be the exam day strategy? Should it be flexibility? Should it be accuracy? Or what should it really be?
Fine. Thank you. So first of all, I would say that as for SRCC GBO, I think all of you know as of now that what you require is speed and accuracy. So these are the very two important factors. But apart from this, I would say one thing that is very important in the examination hall is your state of mind. So I would just say that no, I think as till now all of you have given almost all the exams, so everybody is well prepared. So what is now required is that you focus upon the speed part and you try to practice as much as you can during the day till the exam day. So and after that, when you go to the exam hall, it is very important to keep a calm mind so that you can attempt maximum questions, because definitely you need to attempt as many as you can because the cutoffs are definitely high. But keeping accuracy in mind, you need to be calm enough. You need not to think about how the things are going. You just need to attempt as much as you can. And apart from that, I would say, if you talk about what section you should follow, I would not say that there is a specific strategy for it. I think everybody have his or her own way of attempting the exam. Whatever suits you, whatever you feel that this is the section you are good at, go for it. And whatever takes time, whatever you feel takes time for you, I think you should keep it for the last, because that would definitely bring down your number of attempts. So I think that is what you require, and just be calm during those 2 hours, and I think it's easy to go for you then.
Absolutely. I think that presence of mind and the calmness that you need to keep, even if the exam comes in a way that you are, say, good at English or verbal section, and the verbal section is really tough that day. So I believe you should not take it on your own ego or on your own self that I will only solve this section. But I think you should be flexible enough to solve the section that you really feel comfortable at that point of time, looking at the exam paper. Okay, awesome. That brings me to the last section. As all of us are from very diverse backgrounds, Krisha and I come from a consulting background, Priyanka from a product management, and Netik, of course, from a banking and business analysis background. Just would want to know your thoughts, all of you, on what should candidates do before MBA and during that MBA as well. And this is, generic not to SRCC GBO students, but to anyone who's doing an MBA, on getting into that industry or getting into that functional area of job, right? So we'll start with Netik. If you want to go ahead and answer, since you have been working with MX for some time now, what do you feel really a candidate should be doing during those 2 years?
Okay. In case if someone is planning to enter into banking or business analysis or that sort of field, I think not just for this industry, it's very paramount. Today that you have very good, you have some exposure around analytics. You have some exposure around the applications of various tools, techniques, and the trends in the market. Because today it's not the case that banking and tech are two different things, right? Fintech in itself is a different industry, at tech, for example. So technology is going to stay. So I think as much as one can expose himself or herself to various technologies, and get a high level view of what works in corporates and solve cases. I think that would really help in those 2 years.
Okay, awesome. Grisha?
Sure. So consulting, it's a very, beaten path, I would say. Like after the MBA, people do aspire to be in consulting. But for consulting, I cannot say that there is a specific thing that you need to do. All you need to do is have a problem-solving mindset. I have I don't have a huge experience, but within 3 years of my experience, what I have learned is that if you have a right mindset in terms of how can you solve a problem, that is something that that will actually be helpful for you to solve anything and everything that comes in your journey in a career. So having that said, like you need to have a problem solving mindset, of course, but you again need some knowledge, right? So in terms of studying within MBA, so if I talk very specifically about GBO, then you have a course in the 4th semester, you will study something about strategy. And strategy is something that when you're in the college, when you think that it's very academic and very theoretical, but I'm not kidding, it is going to help you a lot in your future. I think this is actually something that I've noticed after 1 or 2 years into the industry, that when you are talking about quota 5 forces and BCG matrix, something like that, you will actually be applying that in your career. So whenever you are there, start learning. Read it, learn it, and learn it not to have some marks in your final examination, but learn it in a way like how do you solve problems out of this. And the third thing that I would say, what you can do while doing your MBA is basically participating in a lot of case study competitions. So case studies competition, these are very paramount, I would say, because not only you will get to buff up your CV, that you will have a lot of competitions and you are very active in extracurricular activities. But then again, it will help you to think on your feet. It will make you quick. It will help you to be very confident while articulating your thoughts. It will help you to present at a very great level, because presentation is also something which is very important in this particular industry. So yeah, the third thing would be, don't just keep studying and learning about the strategy part, but just implement them in the competitions and all.
Right. And since I come from that industry, I think everything that you said makes sense, especially that, case studies part. What we do every day right now is literally solving case studies, right? It's just those are very new or at times really a blue ocean for us. So if you're solving case studies, then I'll also attach a link of the book for solving guesstimates and case studies like these. I think we used to do that a lot during our time on solving those case study or solving those guesstimate. That should not be right every time, but I believe that should be a right approach that you take, right? So if it's almost in every interview now, not just consulting, that if you have a right approach to answer that question, most probably the interviewer will choose you and select you to take it to the next round or give you that job. So if you do that during those 2 years, I think that's really going to help you.
Talking about product management, first of all, I would say that this role is highly in demand in the market right now. So if I talk about the role, first of all, I would say the best part is that you get to work on diverse things in a single role. As you get to work on data, you get to work on the analytics part of it. You get to understand, you get to do the things in a creative manner, because whenever you're working on some product, you need to analyze the product. You need to understand what would suit the customer needs and what would not. So definitely you get to use your creative mind as well. So in that case, there are variety of teams that you would be working with, and that is the reason why your mind is completely in a way that you get to think on a lot of aspects all at once. So this is one thing about the role. And talking about what you can do during the 2 years, I would say that it is definitely not clear to all of us while we are doing our MBA as to where we want to go. By the end of second year, I think most of us realize that this is where we would like to be. So I would say that when you are exploring during those 2 years, it is very important, as all of us mentioned, that you need to understand how you can just go through the different roles or through the different areas through case study competitions. So that is one thing that will help you understand what suits your requirements, what is something that interests you, and that is how you can move further. And about product management, if you feel that you're really interested in knowing about it, so I would say that it is important to understand the basics first of all, and definitely working on data, because that would help you in any other role as well. So that is one thing. And if creative mind is something that you feel happy about, or if you feel that you are good at, so I think definitely you should explore this role and go deep in depth to understand the role. So I think that is what I would say about the role and what you can do during those 2 years for the same.
Absolutely. Sure. And I think I'll just add a point here that if you're not sure, which even I was not when I was into the first year of my MBA, that I want to get into a particular company or a particular career path, the approach that I took, that I learned from my mentors, was if you don't know what to do, try a lot of things. And only then I think you will get to know what you really want to do. So I made sure I did a internship in completely different field from what I did as a life project to, working with a very small company or a startup at that point of time on helping them, to getting into a variety of life projects. So I think uski wajah se jo aapko help milega on what to do during those 2 years will make a very solid base for you to what to do for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Like, and it's a very important decision that you have to take for yourself during that time.
Yeah, I think I'll add one more point over here. It's generally, as you mentioned, that we need to explore a lot, and in that sense, it's just not about the formal opportunities, because what I always felt right from my engineering, that whenever you want to research on a project, or whenever you want to work upon an idea, let's say you're working upon any idea, there will be some sort of research, some sort of access to some industries you will need and that this is what this access you can get once you are in the college, especially with the SRCC brand name. I remember I carried out a lot of surveys, wearing the SRCC iCard of mine. I went to a lot of places, and once you have this on your with you get access to so many places very easily. So one must leverage in these opportunities as well.
Yeah, I think that is leveraging the brand name in the truest sense or in the right sense that you said, right? So that SRCC brand name can be leveraged in n number of ways, but leveraging it in a way that, say, you can collect data or you can take out some surveys, you can analyze a few things, can make it go a long way, right? So be it your own startup, or be it you want to get into a particular company or a job for an internship, or say for a full-time job, I think that will help you a lot eventually. And I think those are a lot of student driven initiatives as well. So if you want to say, uh, look at a new idea or work with the idea with the society or work with the teachers, work with the professors, I believe there are a lot of opportunities that you can do during those 2 years. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for joining today. If you have any questions regarding the consulting space, product management space, or banking space, please feel free to bombard them with questions. Ask them how to get into those kind of companies. And I believe I'm saying that without asking them that they would be more than happy to help you. And they're already getting a lot of questions. Each one of us get a lot of questions on how to get into GBO or what is the experience there. And I believe they'll be more than happy to help you. And as always, please make sure that you like the video, share it with your friends and the people who are giving this exam, and of course, subscribe to the channel.